It was perfect, honestly. No, I couldn't expect a more emotional day, so I can't thank enough to the president, to Jill, to Emily, and to all the people who made that day possible.
Just days after a 21-year-old from the Philippines walked off center court in tears, a voice emerged from Mallorca. A voice that had shaped her game, her mentality, and her entire career. A voice that the tennis world had been waiting to hear. He had watched her grow from a 13-year-old junior prospect into a Grand Slam seed. He had trained with her, mentored her, and seen her fall and rise again. When she stunned the defending champion on center court, he was one of the first to celebrate. And when her dream finally ended, he broke his silence. Rafael Nadal had been watching from afar, recovering, waiting, his eyes fixed on the woman who had once been his student. And when he finally spoke, fans were left absolutely speechless. What did the 22-time Grand Slam champion say about Alexandra Eala's Wimbledon run? And why did his words carry more weight than any victory or defeat? He had been watching her since she was just 13 years old. A young girl from Quezon City, thousands of miles from home, arriving at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca with nothing but a dream and a racket. Rafael Nadal had seen countless players pass through those doors. But there was something different about this one, a left-handed fighter with a fire that refused to be extinguished. A student who didn't just learn, she absorbed, adapted, and grew. For years, Nadal watched from a distance. He trained with her, he mentored her, he offered her valuable pointers on her game. And when she graduated from the academy in June 2023, he stood beside her, smiling, proud. A truly unique day at the academy, the RNA posted at the time. Then came 2025, the Miami Open. Eala stunned the tennis world by defeating Iga Swiatek and Madison Keys en route to the semifinals. Nadal was watching. He sent her a message on Instagram, "Let's keep dreaming." In November 2025, after a year-long hiatus from tennis, Nadal returned to the court for a practice session with Eala. "Next time, I will be stronger," he beamed. The video went viral. In December 2025, Eala called her training session with Nadal a dream come true. "Training with Rafa is something people and kids can only dream of," she said. And in July 2026, as Eala walked onto center court at Wimbledon to face the defending champion, Nadal was watching again, not from the royal box, not from the stands, but from Mallorca, his eyes fixed on the woman who had once been his student. When she dismantled Swiatek in straight sets, he didn't celebrate wildly. He didn't post a public message. Instead, he watched, he waited, and when her dream finally came to an end, he broke his silence. The Rafa Nadal Academy, where Eala had trained since she was 13, posted a tribute to its standout graduate. "So proud of you, Alexandra Eala. Keep shining. The best is yet to come. Vamos." And Rafael Nadal himself? He had been watching. He had been waiting. And when he finally spoke, his words would carry more weight than any victory or defeat. To understand what Alex Eala became on the lawns of SW19, you have to understand the place that shaped her. The Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor, Mallorca is not just a tennis facility. It's a forge. A place where raw talent is refined, where discipline is instilled, and where the game's most unbreakable mentalities are built. And for Eala, it has been home since she was just 13 years old. She arrived as a wide-eyed junior from Quezon City, leaving her family behind to chase a dream on the other side of the world. She left as a Grand Slam seed. The Academy's philosophy is simple but unforgiving. As one profile noted, it has built its reputation on producing players who understand that discipline beats drama. Eala spent years learning that lesson, refining her game far from home, adding layers to her tennis instead of searching for shortcuts. She was a student who didn't just learn, she absorbed, adapted, and grew, and her mentor took notice. In November 2025, a year after his retirement, Rafael Nadal returned to the courts of his academy for a training session with Eala. He wrote on social media, "It was great to practice with you, Alex Eala. Next time I will be stronger." The video went viral. Eala described the experience as a dream come true. "Training with Rafa is something people and kids can only dream of," she said. She even got technical tips from the legend, advice on her forehand and other small adjustments that she could apply in her future tournaments. "This is the first time I've ever hit with him in my life, and it's just a memory that will last forever," she said. But the most telling tribute to the Academy's influence came not from Nadal himself, but from those who watched Eala play. After her victory over Swiatek, former U.S. Open finalist Greg Rusedski made a comparison that sent ripples through the tennis world. "The mentality is like Rafa," Rusedski said. "Never say die. Start to finish. Gets the job done. Finds a way," he added. "She's like Rafael Nadal, and I like that. She's a fierce competitor." Another outlet put it even more directly. "She is a lefty like Nadal, but the 21-year-old has more similarities with the King of Clay than just that." When Eala's historic run finally came to an end against Jasmine Paolini, the Academy was quick to honor its standout graduate. In a Facebook post that resonated across the Philippines, the Rafa Nadal Academy wrote, "So proud of you, Alexandra Eala. Keep shining. The best is yet to come. Vamos!" The man who built her game had already said everything that needed to be said. Not in a press release, not in a public statement, but in the quiet, patient work that had shaped a 13-year-old junior into a Grand Slam contender. The Academy had done its job. Eala had done hers. The photo had gone viral before the match even began. It showed Alex Eala at her graduation from the Rafa Nadal Academy in June 2023. On her right stood Rafael Nadal, the 22-time Grand Slam champion whose name was on the building behind her. On her left stood Iga Swiatek, the guest of honor, the world know. 1. The woman who had just won her third French Open title. Eala was in the middle, her face beaming with pride, her diploma in hand, the future stretching out before her like an endless court. 3 years later, on center court at Wimbledon, that photo took on a new meaning. Eala had been just 18 when she graduated. She had spent 5 years at the Academy, arriving as a 13-year-old from Quezon City, leaving as a young woman ready to take on the world. Swiatek had been a special guest at the ceremony, seated beside the Filipina at various points throughout the event. Nadal had presented her diploma. It had been a moment of celebration, a rite of passage, a simple photograph. No one could have predicted what would happen 3 years later. Before making history on center court, Alex trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, where she graduated in 2023, one report noted. During that ceremony, none other than Iga herself, already a multiple-time Grand Slam champion and former world #1, was the guest of honor. It was a full-circle moment. The student who had received her diploma from Swiatek had returned to center court and dismantled the defending champion. The guest of honor had become the victim of the very player she had once celebrated. And there was another layer to this story that the cameras captured in the player's box during the Swiatek match. Tony Nadal, Rafael's uncle, the legendary coach who had guided his nephew to 22 Grand Slam titles, the man who had been part of Eala's development since her early days at the Academy. He was there, sitting in Eala's coaching box, watching the student he had helped shape take on the champion who had once shared a stage with her. Eala had revealed weeks earlier that she had been receiving coaching tips from Tony Nadal. "Sometimes I'm coached by Tony," she said. "If you told me that when I was younger, there's no way I would have believed you." The man who had coached Rafael Nadal to 22 Grand Slams was now in the corner of a 21-year-old from the Philippines. The student had not only surpassed the teacher's expectations, she had the teacher's mentor in her corner. After the match, the Rafa Nadal Academy posted a tribute to its standout graduate. The photo that accompanied it, Eala at her graduation, sandwiched between Nadal and Swiatek. The post read, "So proud of you, Alexandra Eala. Keep shining. The best is yet to come. Vamos." The image of that graduation day had come full circle. From a ceremony in Mallorca to the center court at Wimbledon, the past and present converging in a single moment of history. It is worth noting that Rafael Nadal's uncle Tony was in the Eala's box, one report noted. The man who had helped build Rafael Nadal's legendary career was now helping to build another one. The student had become the master, the mentor had watched it all unfold, and the tennis world had witnessed something it would never forget. The cameras had stopped rolling, the center court crowd had dispersed. And in the quiet of the evening, the tennis world waited for a voice that had been conspicuously absent, the voice of the man whose name was stitched into the very fabric of Alex Eala's journey. For days, Rafael Nadal had remained silent. He had been seen in practice sessions in Mallorca, preparing for his own comeback, but on the topic of his protégé's historic Wimbledon run, he had said nothing. No social media post. No public statement. Just the quiet hum of a man who had always let his actions speak louder than his words. And then, on Tuesday, July 7, 2026, the silence was broken. It didn't come as a dramatic press conference. It didn't come as a personal message from the 22-time Grand Slam champion himself. It came from the place that had shaped Eala from a 13-year-old junior prospect into a Grand Slam seed. The Rafa Nadal Academy posted a tribute to its standout graduate. "So proud of you, Alexandra Eala. Keep shining. The best is yet to come. Vamos!" The message was simple, but its weight was immeasurable. It came from the institution that had built its reputation on producing players who understand that discipline beats drama, the same philosophy that had carried Eala through the most important week of her career. It came from the academy that had watched her arrive as a wide-eyed 13-year-old, leave her family behind to chase a dream on the other side of the world, and slowly, methodically, transform into one of the sport's brightest young stars. And it came indirectly from the man whose name was on the building. Nadal's silence had not been indifference, it had been patience. He had watched from afar, recovering, waiting, his eyes fixed on the woman who had once been his student. He had seen her dismantle the defending champion on center court. He had seen her fall to the grass in tears after becoming the first Filipino in the Open era to reach the second week of a Grand Slam. He had seen her fight, fall, and rise again. And when the Academy finally spoke, it carried his voice. Earlier that year, Nadal had already shown his support. After her stunning Miami Open breakthrough in 2025, he had sent her a message that would become a mantra for her career. Let's keep dreaming. In November 2025, he had returned from a year-long hiatus to practice with Eala, posting, "It was great to practice with you, Alex Eala. Next time I will be stronger." He had been there quietly, consistently from the beginning. But this message was different. This was the Academy, his Academy, acknowledging that Eala had done something extraordinary, that the girl who had arrived as a 13-year-old with nothing but a dream had become a history maker. The silence had been broken, and in its wake, the tennis world understood. Rafael Nadal had been watching all along. The match had ended, the crowd had dispersed, the royal box was empty, but the legacy of what Alex Eala had achieved at Wimbledon 2026 was only just beginning to take shape. She had done what no Filipino had done in 73 years. She had reached the fourth round of a Grand Slam, the first since Felicissimo Ampon at the 1953 French Open. She had defeated the defending champion and a two-time Grand Slam finalist on the way. She had secured a combined £309,000, around P25.3 million, in prize money and climbed to world number 32. She had compiled a 12-4 record on grass courts across 5 tournaments. But for Eala, the numbers were just numbers. What mattered was the impact she was having on her country, on the children who would grow up watching her highlights, on the families who had stayed up late into the night to cheer her on a nation that had found something to believe in. The Rafa Nadal Academy had been there from the beginning. It had shaped her, molded her, and given her the tools to compete with the best in the world. And when her historic run finally came to an end, the Academy was there to honor her. "So proud of you, Alexandra Eala. Keep shining. The best is yet to come, vemos." The message came from the same institution that had watched her arrive as a 13-year-old from Quezon City, leaving her family behind to chase a dream on the other side of the world. It came from the same place that had trained her, mentored her, and given her the tools to compete with the best in the world. And it came, indirectly, from the man whose name was on the building. Rafael Nadal had been watching all along. He had seen her grow from a junior prospect into a Grand Slam seed. He had trained with her, mentored her, and seen her fall and rise again. And in his Academy's tribute, the tennis world heard his voice, the best yet to come. Eala's Wimbledon run had come to an end, but her journey was far from over. She had proven that she could beat the best. She had proven that she belonged among the elite. She had proven that a girl from a country with no tennis history could stand on center court and fight for her dreams. The king had watched, the mentor had spoken, the Academy had celebrated. And Alex Eala had left Wimbledon with more than just prize money and ranking points. She had left with the knowledge that she had inspired an entire nation. She had left with the respect of the tennis world, and she had left with a promise that this was only the beginning. "I have to be proud of what I've achieved this week," she had said. "I'm leaving with positive thoughts. There are so many positives. The best was yet to come." The roar of center court had fallen silent. The sea of red, white, and blue had begun to disperse. But in Mallorca, one man had been watching the entire time. Rafael Nadal had seen it all. He had watched his protégé grow from a 13-year-old junior prospect into a Grand Slam seed. He had seen her dismantle the defending champion on center court. He had watched her fall to the grass in tears after becoming the first Filipino in the Open era to reach the second week of a Grand Slam. And he had seen her fight, fall, and rise again. For 4 days, he had remained silent. No social media post, no public statement, just the quiet patience of a man who had always let his actions speak louder than his words. But when the silence was finally broken, it came from the place that had shaped her. The Rafa Nadal Academy posted a tribute to its standout graduate. "So proud of you, Alexandra Eala. Keep shining. The best is yet to come, vemos." The message carried the weight of the institution that had built its reputation on producing players who understand that discipline beats drama, the same philosophy that had carried Eala through the most important week of her career. And it carried the voice of the man whose name was on the building. Nadal had been there from the beginning, watching, mentoring, believing. In November 2025, he had returned from a year-long hiatus to practice with her, posting, "It was great to practice with you, Alex Eala. Next time I will be stronger." After her Miami Open breakthrough, he had sent her a message that became a mantra for her career. "Let's keep dreaming." He had been there, quietly, consistently, from the start.